In the ever-changing and often unpredictable landscape of South African politics, few figures generate as much debate, intense discussion, and frustration as President Cyril Ramaphosa. Once celebrated as a symbol of hope following Jacob Zuma's tumultuous years, Ramaphosa entered the presidency amid widespread optimism. Many believed he could steer the country toward stability, transparency, and integrity, becoming a leader capable of confronting corruption, restoring confidence in public institutions, and revitalizing a nation still grappling with inequality, unemployment, and the lingering effects of apartheid. Yet, as the years have passed, this optimism has gradually given way to skepticism and disappointment, as controversies, missteps, and questions about leadership continue to dominate headlines and public discourse. Among those most vocal in his criticism is political analyst Prince Mashele, who has not hesitated to deliver blunt, even shocking statements about Ramaphosa. Mashele boldly asserted that the president will go down as one of South Africa's most useless leaders and further claimed that if Ramaphosa lives to the age of 80, he could end up in jail. These remarks have sparked intense conversation and debate across social and traditional media, prompting many South Africans to critically reflect on the president's decisions, actions, and the broader trajectory of the country under his leadership. To fully understand why such stark statements are being made, it is essential to look at South Africa's historical and political context. The country's transition from apartheid to democracy in 1994 was extraordinary, representing a triumph of hope, perseverance, and the struggle for freedom. The African National Congress, led by Nelson Mandela, became the embodiment of progress and national aspiration. The party's liberation legacy created enormous expectations, and for a time, South Africans believed that the ANC would deliver justice, equality, and opportunity. Over the years, however, the party faced increasing criticism for corruption, mismanagement, and an apparent disconnect from ordinary citizens' needs. By the time Cyril Ramaphosa assumed the presidency in 2018, following Jacob Zuma's resignation, the ANC's credibility had already been severely undermined. Ramaphosa was seen as a reformer, someone who could restore integrity, tackle corruption, and rebuild public trust. His initial days in office brought a wave of optimism, suggesting that the country might finally overcome systemic challenges and set a new tone for leadership in the 21st century. Yet, over time, cracks in this narrative have become increasingly apparent. One of the most high-profile controversies during Ramaphosa's tenure has been the Phala Phala scandal, in which large sums of money were allegedly kept on the president's private farm. While prosecutors eventually cleared him of wrongdoing and Ramaphosa has consistently denied any misconduct, the episode cast doubt in the eyes of many citizens about transparency, accountability, and the ethical standards of the presidency. Beyond the Phala Phala scandal, critics argue that Ramaphosa has often displayed hesitancy in taking decisive action, particularly when it comes to dealing with corruption, criminal networks, and internal political challenges within the ANC. The perception of caution or political maneuvering over bold leadership has fueled growing disillusionment among citizens who expected a stronger, more assertive president. Prince Mashele's critique focuses on several critical aspects of Ramaphosa's leadership. First, he emphasizes ineffectiveness and inaction. He points to incidents such as allegations against Police Minister Sensone Chinu, accused of collusion with criminal syndicates and interfering with law enforcement investigations. Instead of taking immediate, strong action, Ramaphosa placed Mchunu on special leave and initiated a commission of inquiry, which Mashele interprets as a politically calculated move prioritizing alliances over justice. According to Mashele, such decisions signal weakness in leadership and allow systemic problems to persist, further eroding public confidence. Second, Mashele raises concerns about alleged complicity and corruption. He refers to Ramaphosa as the criminal-in-chief, suggesting that the president presides over a party that tolerates and sometimes enables corruption. Mashele points to the CR17 campaign and its associated financial contributions, arguing that these connections compromise Ramaphosa's ability to act decisively against corruption within the ANC. This, he asserts, has fostered a culture of impunity where wrongdoing is rarely punished, weakening both public trust and institutional integrity. Third, Mashele highlights missed opportunities for transformative leadership. True leadership, he argues, requires the courage to make difficult decisions and seize critical moments, especially when the nation faces challenges that demand action. Mashele believes that Ramaphosa has consistently opted for caution and political expediency over decisive measures, leaving systemic problems unresolved and citizens increasingly frustrated. This perceived inability to act decisively has affected public perception, fueling debates about the president's effectiveness and the ANC's broader commitment to reform. The implications of such criticism are profound. Public trust erodes when leaders fail to act transparently and decisively, weakening faith not only in the individual leader, but in the institutions that underpin democracy itself. Institutional decay is another concern. Corruption and mismanagement that go unchecked can undermine law enforcement, healthcare, education, and other essential services. Citizens may feel abandoned or disenfranchised, contributing to apathy, political disengagement, and heightened social tension. Political instability is also a potential consequence. When citizens perceive a lack of leadership, they may shift their support to opposition parties, intensifying polarization and creating a more contentious political climate. At the same time, some argue that Ramaphosa faces significant constraints. He inherited a deeply complex political system, an economy facing structural challenges, and entrenched networks of power that resist change. Reform is not straightforward, and navigating these pressures requires balancing competing interests while attempting to maintain stability. Supporters argue that despite mistakes, Ramaphosa has managed to achieve certain successes, including implementing measures to strengthen anti-corruption efforts, managing global economic pressures, and leading the country through the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, critics maintain that the perception of indecision and cautious political maneuvering continues to overshadow these achievements, leaving many questioning. Thank you for watching. If you found this discussion insightful, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political analysis and commentary. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and tell us whether you agree with Prince Mashele's assessment of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Your perspective is invaluable,